Okay, so I'm going to be teaching you how you can make your very own OpenCore EFI, and this time I'm making it for Skylake. And if you don't know, Skylake is just basically one of Intel's codenames for one of the CPUs. Now, if you want to find out what CPU you're using, what you want to do is you want to right-click the Windows icon. I want to click, you want to click Device Manager, and it'll open up this window here called Device Manager. Just if you get this other devices section, just close that out. And what you want to mainly focus on is the processors. Just right click that, left click that, and you'll see you'll have your CPU. Now I'm using a Broadwell CPU, and I am going to be covering a video on that soon, but for now I'm just going to be making the Skylake EFI file. So you'll see I've got a 5th gen because it's got a 5 here. If it's got a 6th, then you're going to be using a different code name. So yeah, if it says 3 here for the first digit, that means it will be the Ivy Bridge CPU. And if you're using an Ivy Bridge CPU, what I'll do is recommend you go to my video. I'll leave a card in the corner of the video, but what I'll do is I'll leave a card, and you can, if you're making an OpenCore EFI for your Ivy Bridge CPU, then just click the card and I'll take you to the video. But otherwise, yeah. So I'm using a 5th gen CPU. So now that you know that, you want to go and open up pretty much any web browser, then click the plus button, and I want to look up the CPU name. So I'm using a i5 5257U. 5257U. And what you want to do is don't really buy the computers. Take a look at this link called Intel Arc. Just click that, and make sure that the Arc page, make sure that it's got like your CPU name properly configured, or well named. So you can see I'm using a 5257U. I'll say I'm using a 5257U. So make sure you're on that website. Now, once you've done that, you'll see you got your product collection, 5th generation Core i5 processors, your code name. So what you want to focus on. If you want, you can also take a look at all these other specs. So yeah, your graphics, the device ID. If you're doing a Clover Hackintosh, I'm pretty sure this is like pretty useful. But obviously we're doing a pretty easy patch with OpenCore, so you don't need to do any of that biz. But yeah, you want to focus on code name. So go to this section and you'll see the products formerly Broadwell. Now, you'll see on Intel desktop config.plist, we won't have Broadwell. And that's because this CPU uses a BGA socket. And when I say BGA socket, I mean it's a laptop CPU. When I say laptop CPU, I mean it's not changeable. The CPU is not changeable whatsoever. It's a soldered CPU. And they're usually commonly found on mobile devices. For example, a Android tablet. You never know, I think there is an Android tablet running with an Intel CPU, probably an Intel Atom, but basically those types of CPUs use what's known as BGA, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all you need to know. But I'm using a laptop CPU or a mobile CPU, so I want to go to the Intel laptop section, and you'll see we have Broadwell. So yeah, that's one thing I wanted to state. So now, yeah, and now I am actually using a Broadwell CPU. Like I said before, I just closed the tab by the way because my recording for some reason just stopped. But yeah, I am using a Broadwell CPU. But I don't really have any systems running a Skylake CPU. But you know, it's gonna be easier if I actually go through, because one of you guys may have been using a Skylake CPU and do a Hackintosh on there. Well, you might be wondering, well, how do I make the EFI? Well, this video was really made for you. Unfortunately, I don't know whether it's gonna work on your system or not. But with the, I'm just going to be following the guide really. I'm just going to be selecting things that I do know my system has on the BIOS. For example, the Apple CFG lock. Usually you have to enable that if you do have CFG lock. Sorry, if you don't have CFG lock in your BIOS, but you have to disable that if you do have CFG lock in your BIOS, basically. So I know I have CFG lock in my BIOS, so yeah, I'd be disabling that. But obviously you'd have to sort out some settings by yourself as well, just so you can learn as well how you make an OpenCore EFI. So anyway, yeah, let's begin. So first thing we want to do is make obviously our installer, because we need to know what version of macOS we're going to be running. Now, for my system, I'm going to be running, let's go to Skylake. Now the minimum version Skylake supports is El Capitan, which basically is a macOS version. So I can run pretty much any OS, so from OS 10.11 to over, basically. So yeah, that obviously if you're running, like, for example, OS 10 Yosemite, then you can't really run that because it doesn't support the Skylake SM BIOS, which is on the bottom. We are going to be covering that, but yeah. Anyways, let's go back to making the installer. So I know I can make, so it can't be pretty much any of these versions of macOS at all. It has to be at least El Capitan or over, basically. So let's make a High Sierra installer, basically. Sorry, why did I say basically? Yeah, let's make a High Sierra installer. So let's copy this. And what we're going to do is open up our command prompt. And before we do that, we actually need to install recovery.py, or well, really the whole OpenCore package, because you know, all of our stuff is stored in this zip file. So let's open that up. Let's download it. Yeah, let's close all these. It's not really necessary. Save. Then I'm gonna show in folder. Alright, yeah. Extract all. And once it finishes extracting, yeah, just open up the folder, then click utilities, and then you'll have all these utility folders. Now what we're going to be focusing on is Mac Recovery, because that's where we're going to be making the actual macOS installer. So let's open that up. And before we continue any further, you're going to see that we have a .py file. Now we need to install Python for that. Now I already have Python installed, but I'm going to go through it again so I can show you guys how to install Python. So just go to the Python website. Then click downloads, and you want to select your operating system. Now if you're making the OpenCore EFI in macOS, select macOS, and then they have a download button. If you're making it on Linux, I think you have to download it from the command prompt, or well, the terminal. But yeah, I'm using Windows, so just click download for Windows. Yep. Let's open that up. Now I'm gonna uninstall, and then I'm gonna reinstall it as well, so I can show you guys how you install it. Because there's a specific feature we need to download for Python, so that we can make the installer. Right, uninstall was successful. So let's click close. I'm going to reopen it. And now what you want to do is install, add Python 3.10 to path. Now this is necessary because we need to create this environment variable that will allow us to use Python in the command prompt. So let's tick that. I'm going to click install now. And it's just going to download all the executables and all the stuff that's needed to install Python. And while then I'm just going to close my device manager because we've sorted that out now. Also close GitHub as well because you don't need that open. Okay, so we have finished the setup, so let's close. Now let's close the Python website because we don't need that anymore. Now we need to open up command prompt like I said before, so just write down cmd and you want to run it as administrator. Now I'm not sure whether you can actually run the command without administrator rights, but I'm just going to do it just in case. So run as administrator and click yes. If the pop-up shows for you on the recording, I'm not sure. And what you want to do is you want to type down cd. Oops. Yeah, type down cd. Then we'll go to the Mac recovery folder. Then want to click this tab bar here. I'm going to click Control C to copy it. Now we're going to copy this directory so we can cd into it and actually just open up the folder in the command prompt. So once done that, right click. Once we've copied that link, and it will show up the link. Now it'll have C:\users and then obviously a username. So this is just like one of my names that I've just randomly generated, but basically your name will show up here. Now if your name doesn't show up, then that's a bit strange, but if it doesn't show up, that's fine, okay, because you might have your PC named to something else, so that's fine. For example, C:\user/ then home computer, that's fine, but as long as you cd into the folder, that's fine. So just click enter. And now you'll have your home folder, then you'll have your downloads folder, and then you'll go into the OpenCore folder, then the utilities and Mac recovery, same here. Once done that, you can close File Explorer. Well, actually minimize it, don't close it, because we actually don't need that. Then you scroll down and select what macOS version you want to use. Now, like I said, for Skylake, you need at least El Capitan or over. So I'm just going to choose High Sierra. You can choose Mojave or Catalina or Big Sur. I'm not sure whether Skylake supports Monterey, but if it does, just select that. And if you want to run Ventura, which is the latest macOS version, it still needs to be released, but for now, once it releases, you can select that. But I'm going to be using High Sierra for now, so just so that so much disk space doesn't be used. So I'll right click again because I copied that, and click enter. It's not a recognized. Oh, I need to copy that properly. Paste that again. That's fine. And click enter. There you go, and that's where the path command comes into use, because we can now use Python within the terminal. So yeah, just wait for this to download, and I'll be back once it finishes. My install has finished doing its thing. So now we have the image. So if I open up File Explorer, let's go back to downloads, OpenCore, utilities, the Mac recovery. You'll see we'll have either base system and base system.chunklist. Now you might have, I think it was recovery image, recovery recovery system. I'm not sure what it's called, but you might have something called recovery something. That's fine as well. I think that's for if you're using at least OS 10 Mavericks or under. You'll have the recovery image instead of base system. You can actually see on Google Chrome or the OpenCore guide, yeah, we have recovery image. So if you're running an older version of macOS, you'll have Mac recovery. No, I didn't mean to do that. Then if you're using El Capitan or over, you'll have base system.chunklist and base system.dmg. So we can exit out of command prompt, by the way. Let's go back to File Explorer. Let's exit out that. Go to File Explorer. Now, what I want to do now is prepare our USB for flashing by ISO. So, what I want to do now is install this program called Rufus. And what Rufus is basically allows you to flash ISOs and pretty much any like type of disk image to a USB. No, we are not going to be flashing the base system.dmg to our USB, because that's not how it works at all. That's actually, think technically you can class that as piracy. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to be making our USB bootable. So the way we do that is you want to click Start, and write down Rufus. And I already have the application installed. But if you don't have the application installed, click Control T, and then look up Rufus. Now, I'll leave this link in the description below, and I'll also leave the Titania guide in the description below as well. So, click Rufus. Yeah, then click download, and you want to download the latest version of Rufus. Now, I'm using Rufus 3.18, and that is completely fine. But what I recommend you do though is at least install the latest version of Rufus. So just click any of these links. I've already got Rufus, like I said before, installed, so I can open that up. Yeah, I got Rufus 3.18 open. And you'll see, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Yeah, I do. So click yes. And now my USB is called CD-ROM, and it is 8 gigs. So what you want to do is insert your USB drive inside your computer, select it in the device section, then it'll say boot selection. Click this, and you want to click, non-bootable. Now we're not going to be making this USB, we're not going to be flashing this USB with any ISO. We're just going to be making it bootable. So yeah, click non-bootable. Then you want to make it GPT, and then BIOS UEFI. Actually, let's make it MBR just in case. So yeah, make it MBR and make it BIOS UEFI. You might have a BIOS option, but I'm not sure whether in the latest version of Rufus it has that. Then you want to name the USB drive to whatever you want. I'm just going to name it to Skylake for now. And then what you want to do is you want to follow this file system. This is the main thing we're going to be focusing on. Now you'll have exFAT, you'll have UDF, I think it's used for floppy disks. Then you'll have NTFS, which is the Windows file system. Then you'll have FAT32. Now you must select FAT32 because the BIOS can't read NTFS or exFAT. Actually, I think some BIOSes can read exFAT, but pretty much every single BIOS, new BIOS, can read FAT32. So select FAT32 if you want to see the USB drive in BIOS and you want to boot it. Select FAT32, then click Start, and I'll get this pop up. Now, before we continue, I'll need to say that this will pretty much remove anything on your USB drive. So remove all your data and like back it up onto your hard drive, because it's just going to erase the whole device, and it will be usable, but it just erase all the data on the device. So click OK if you want to proceed, obviously. Then it'll just do its thing. Then it will make this small noise, thinks the Windows pop-up noise. Then it will say ready, and you want to click close because now we've made our USB bootable. So what you want to do now is copy these two files, basesystem.dmg and basesystem.chunklist. Copy those by clicking Control C. Open up your USB drive, and you want to see, you'll see that these two files, delete those because they're not necessary. and create a new folder. I name this folder exactly com.apple.recovery.boot, and I'll leave that name in the description below, just in case you want to copy and paste it if you're lazy. Then open that folder up, and you want to click Ctrl V to paste it. Okay, so now it's done pasting all the files. So make sure there's a folder called com.apple.recovery.boot. Open that up, and you'll have basesystem.dmg and basesystem.chunklist. Like I said before, if you're using recovery image, you'll have recovery image.chunklist and you'll have recovery image.dmg. So go back to the root of your USB drive. You want to right click where you've downloaded the OpenCore package, open a new window. Go to the OpenCore package, go to utilities, and actually don't go to utilities, you want to go to x64, and now you'll have this folder called .EFI, you'll have this folder called EFI, so copy that and paste it into your USB drive. And now it's done. Now we can minimize this window because we might need it in the future. And you want to go to the EFI folder. You want to go to OC. And what we're going to do next is we're going to delete some things because we don't need some things in the folder. So we're going to go to drivers, and this is where all our drivers are obviously going to be. So now if you're using a pretty old computer that only supports legacy, you're going to need BIOS video. Now I've got a pretty new computer that can only boot UEFI, so I don't really need this at all. So I'll delete audio.exe, so pretty much all the unnecessary things. Now you do want to keep open canopy, and you want to keep open, one sec, hopefully get, you want to keep open runtime as well. So just keep these two files. You can delete everything else. There we go. And then we're going to go to tools, and you want to delete not everything. You want to delete TPM info, RTC, reset system, and you can actually keep some of these things if you want to use them. I'm going to delete some things as well. I'll boot kicker, chiptune. I'm going to keep clear NVRAM and reset NVRAM. I think it is, yeah. and just keep open shell and clear nvram.efi, and then you can delete everything else. There we go. So we've now cleaned our EFI folder. Now that we've done that, you want to open up that secondary window that we opened. You want to go back, and you want to open up the docs folder. Then you want to click sample.plist, and you want to copy that, and then you want to paste it. Then rename the sample.plist file to config.plist. Config.plist. Yeah, so now you'll have config.plist or plist, and there we go. Now we've sorted out our EFI folder. So let's go back to Google Chrome and see what the guide says. So we've sorted out everything here. Now what we want to do is we want to add, I think we've done this as well. Yeah, we've done this as well. So we're going to go to gathering files, and this is where some of the fun stuff starts happening. So we need to download this OneDrive as well. It doesn't unfortunately come with the OpenCore package, but you have to download it separately. So there's a driver called hfsplus.efi. So click that and just download it. Wait for it to load. Then click download. And go to Skylake or my USB drive, EFI, then put in drivers, and there you go. So that's sorted. Then next we're gonna have the text section. Now this is gonna take some time to explain, so I'll actually cut the recording and I'll record it again. And now that we've finished our ACPI, let's go back to the guide. Yeah, let's go back to the guide, and you'll see that if you're using like a laptop, then let's obviously select any of these SSDTs. If you're using a high-end desktop, then just select one of these SSDTs, and the list goes on basically. So once we're done with ACPI, let's move on to let's see. We need to start making our config.plist. So the way we do that is we need to download this thing called proprietary, and what this will allow us to do is edit our config.plist file that we created earlier. So let's go back to our file explorer, Skylake, EFI. You'll see that we have this file called config.plist. So I'm going to minimize that. Then let's click code and then download zip. Then I'm going to download it in my download section. Shown folder. Extract all. Extract. And I'll just extract all the the files that we need. Now, not only do we need Python for the installer, we actually also need it for some of the tools that we're going to be using to make our EFI. So proprietary uses Python as well. So this is why we need all Python as well. So click Python proprietary.bat. Proprietary.bat. Then you can close off proprietary, the folder. Then minimize this, and you'll see that we have this window. Now this is made from TCL, which is basically just a GUI library for Python. Now if you don't have it installed, you might not have it installed on Mac OS. You're gonna need to install it, I think, using Homebrew. So yeah, just go through all that, download TCL, and then there you go. Problem solved. Then you'll have this window. So click File, then click Open. Then what you want to do next is go to your USB, click EFI, click OC, then click config.plist, and there you go. Then you'll have your config.plist file loaded. So first thing first, we need to download we need to delete these 4 warnings. So just delete them. Next, we need to so just to make things more easier, we should do OC clean snapshot. What this will do, it will look like fill out some gaps that we need to fill, and it'll also load the files as well. So just click OC, click File, then OC Clean Snapshot, then select your OC folder, then just click Select Folder, and there you go, problem solved. So just click Console. It's pretty much OC Clean Shot, OC Clean Snapshot. That just makes things more easier. It'll just fill out some blanks for you. So let's go back to the guide. Let's click Close. Then what OC Clean Snapshot has done for us is filled out the ACPI section, so don't need to worry about that. Booter, we don't need to worry about that neither. But we do need to worry about device properties. So go open device properties. Then we need to create another PCIe root value. Then we need to name that to that. Then copy this. Now you can select any either of these. If you're using use when the desktop iGPU is used to drive its display, so if you're driving a display, then select this. Then if you're if used when the desktop iGPU is only used for computing tasks and doesn't drive a display, so I guess this is used for laptops and this is used for I don't know, computers. I'll select this for now and then paste it here. Then next we have a device ID. I don't think, extra note for P530 users. Your iGPU is not natively supported, so you need to add the following property. So add this property if you're using, I don't know, P530. So once you've done that, we need to make these 3 values. Actually, let's copy these. Copy that. Paste that. Copy this as well. Then copy the values. And there we go. So now we have successfully patched our graphics. So yeah, that's pretty good. So what this will do now is it will just fill up the graphics memory, and it'll have more memory to work with. Next we have kernel. Now in kernel you would have added all your kexts, but OC Clean Snapshot dealt with that, so we don't need to deal with our kexts, which is also a good thing as well. So if you've got an Intel Atom or an Intel Celeron or an Intel Pentium, you're gonna have to use emulate. Now I'm not entirely sure how emulate works, but I know you are gonna have to use emulate if you're using either any of those CPUs. I'm using an Intel CPU, and you should also be using an Intel CPU. So yeah, so we need to be focusing on quirks here. Yeah, quirks. So if you have CFG-lock in your BIOS, then just disable this. So I obviously do have CFG-lock in my BIOS, so I can disable it, and it already just disabled. I don't have VT-D in my BIOS, so I do have to enable disable IMO mapper. Yeah. Panic no kick stump. Power timeout kernel panic. Then you're gonna have to set this to true, because if you're running macOS 11.3 or under, so basically if you're running versions versions under Big Sur, then you're gonna have to enable this. Next we have miscellaneous. What's the aeroplane? Yeah, we have miscellaneous. Let's go to debug. Actually, before we continue, go to boot and set hide auxiliary to false, because what this will do is it actually has confused a lot of people. It hides all the extra features and it only shows the hard drives, which is really annoying, because it took me a long time to figure out why my installer wasn't showing up, and it was all thanks to hide auxiliary. So disable that if you want to see your installer. So hide entries, hide serial, tools, yeah, that's fine. So Apple debug set to true. Apple panic set to true as well. Wait, what did I just do? True. Yep. And then target 67. And yeah, let's save it for now just in case. Save that. Then go to security. Allow set default to true. Blacklist app update is already set to true. Scan policy set to 0. Then secure boot model. I'm gonna set it as disabled for now. So if you're running macOS Big Sur or newer, set it to default. And if you're running versions under macOS Big Sur, set to disabled. Because for some reason it's just actually confused this. This also confused me as well. But set just for disabled if you're running macOS Big Sur. No, versions under macOS Big Sur. Then Vault, set that to optional. You have to set this to optional because otherwise your OpenCore won't even boot up. So yeah, save. Done that. Then we have NVRAM. So let's hide all this. So we need to focus on here is boot args. You also need to focus on this as well. Debug goes 0x100. Yep. And now this is save that. Now one thing is you're gonna have to set, if you're using Apple ALC supported codecs, you have all these layout IDs. So select what layout ID you're using, and then you'll have, well, take the audio codec you're using, and then try any of these layout IDs. Set ALC ID, then set the layout ID to that. I'm not using Apple ALC, so it's fine. Then we have, let's see. This is for NVIDIA and AMD CPUs, so we don't really need to worry about this. Thanks for running the recording again.
No problem, sir.
Honestly, man. You just made me lose like 15 minutes of recording. Go away, man. Disgusting. Fuck up, Packy boy. And then we have prev language. So this section here, you're gonna have to set a language. So open up this text file, and you'll have all these languages here. Now for default, it's set to Russian, but I'm using a British keyboard, so I'm gonna set to British English. But actually, no, forget that. I'm just gonna use the American keyboard. That should be fine. Then yep, enter. And next, we have platform info. Now this part, it's gonna be a bit confusing for you. So, wait. For some reason, there's no table here. We choose my. Oh, okay. So, what you need to do now is basically, for some reason, it's not showing up the table of all the SM BIOSes, but I think it's because, you know, there's only one SM BIOS for Skylake. That's the iMac 17,1. So really, we can just copy these values, so it should be fine. So, type would be iMac 17,1. Then we got serial number. And then board serial would be set to, well, will be an MB. And then system UID will be set here. And then lastly we have UEFI. So I'm using High Sierra, so I'm going to have to set the minimum version to this. The min date. There we go. And yeah, that's pretty much it actually. We still have cooks. Yeah. This is our last thing we need to do. We need to set unblock FS Connect to false, and that's already set to false, so that's fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We've sorted out our EFI, so make sure you save, obviously. And that's pretty much it. So you successfully made your own OpenCore EFI. So if you guys do wanna like and subscribe, please feel free, because we are really close to 500 subscribers, and it'd be really cool if we hit that. And yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy Hackintoshing.